Right, we are live. Hello and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Raby, former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Um, the overall topic today is what's going to be happening in the future here on the channel, and just looking back a little bit at the year that was, and kind of start looking at the year that's going to be. Um, but the this is the last live stream of the year, probably because I've got other videos planned for the beginning of next week, and then going into and I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be doing with live streaming as well for this part of the future of the channel. So, um, but I do want to before I begin, while people are still piling in here, I guess I do want to talk about last night. I got to go to I Killed Earl's birthday bash. Thank you, Jova. Appreciate that. I really do. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Um, but I went to that birthday bash, had a great time. I discovered something about my autistic self that if I'm in a crowd and I'm not always the center of attention, my social anxiety isn't as bad. So I think it takes the pressure off a little bit. I guess I should have known that because that's kind of the way I was when I was young and when I was a pastor at social situations, because there was a lot of people that didn't stress me out as much, and I could hide in the corner, or metaphorically speaking, I guess. So there's that aspect of it. So it was a lot of fun last night. Want to thank I Killed Earl for inviting me. Um, I want to thank all the other people there that were there. That was awesome. It was great. Just a good night, a lot of fun. I had a good time, and there was a lot of people in the house, just kind of, wishing Earl a happy birthday. She's of course, I'm too much of a gentleman to ask her age, and that's just the way I am. So there are certain things you just don't ask a woman, and that's just one of them. So that's just me. Call me old fashioned, I guess. So, but I do want to bring up a little bit of a graph to look at this last year, which has been a really, really good year. Um, and when I look at this, I try to look at these numbers because this really reflects what last year was as far as the whole year. I still look back at this year and I'm a little bit stunned at how well I did, because I started the year barely having broke 1,000. I was like at 1,200 subs, and I was just reveling in that. And then within a very short amount of time, I was, you know, uh, in a very short amount of time, I was up to 3 and 4 and 5, and then it kind of just it just um, kind of left. So there was that one. Okay. Yeah, that's from last night. That's a little bit of a joke from last night. So I will let that one slide, missing rod, and let it slide because it was funny. It was funny. It was great stuff. So there's that. But yeah, so uh, lots of views, lots of watch hours, lots of new subscribers. It's I have to thank a lot of people here. All my mods, all my members, all of you guys. You guys have been supportive at times when I've just not been at my creative self. And a lot of this success, pretty much all the success, is due to all you viewers, all you subscribers. And I just want to make sure I thank you all properly. That's just it's just awesome. So it's just been great. And so I want to thank everybody for what they've done last year. But this stream isn't about last year; it's about the future. Uh, I have moved into the realm of really trying to embrace the idea of being an atheist advocate. of trying to be somebody who's a deconversion advocate, people who are deconverting and need support. And that's kind of where I'm moving again. I feel a lot better from a mental point of view. Uh, uh, I think when I look at this last year, it has been a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah, those are really some good yearly numbers. Yeah, they are. And I've been talking to a lot of, or at least listening to a lot of other atheist YouTubers who are kind of in this 5,000 to 10,000 space. They say this is this is this is one of those uh, periods in most YouTubers when they do the kind of content that we do that it takes a little bit longer. I remember watching Godless Granny take like 2 years to move from 5 to 10. So it's not it's not unusual. Uh, so there's that aspect of it. Um, a lot of people, like Jova here, love the channel for different reasons. I think as I'm looking at the comments, Michael makes a very good observation. I'm more comfortable in live streaming than I've been in a while, but at the same time, I'm going to restrict my live stream because it affects my life away from the camera. So thank you very much. That's really good growth this year, and you're right. Thank you very much. So yeah, I don't know if Maud's my producer, but she's welcome here because she's very respectful. At least last night she was very respectful, even in the face of JL and his filibusters. So, um, so there's that. But what's the future? I need to get back to doing what I do best, which is taking videos and making videos. It's what draws me my subs. When I look at the purpose of each type of media I do, uh, I look at videos as a way of generating attention and getting things like that. There's also the Bible study ones that help you are deconverting. The biggest issue I have with those is make sure that those, um, you know, that we're trying to move forward in a way where I'm getting the attention so we keep growing. But at the same time, I think live streaming is a really good way to keep in touch with my fan base and keep in touch with the people that love this channel more personally. And so I don't want to give it up. It's a nice addition. I've been experimenting with it all December, not doing as many videos because of the holidays, but also kind of seeing what live streaming actually does for my channel. And I think it's really helped me be a little bit calmer. So there's that aspect of it that I do enjoy. It's just there's that aspect. So it's one of the more interesting things I've gotten into lately, and using different things to live stream has been a technical challenge, but I've been enjoying it, embracing it. So there's that aspect of it. I agree with you, Rimmer. And by the way, welcome. Good to see you. I think that's what I'm looking at. Like the last 3 months, I haven't really grown, but I have retained everything. I've retained all my subs. My membership is, if I don't count the gifted memberships, I love gifted memberships, but I don't count them in my metric. I'm looking at members that are saying I'm giving monthly support and I'm sticking with it. That's my best metric. Start a dumpster fire. I don't know. She did pretty good last night. She didn't start too many dumpster fires. So, boy, speaking of Charlie Kirk. So there's that aspect of it. So yeah, I look at retention. I'm looking at the fact that I'm not losing subs. I'm not going backwards. So that's a good sign. But the last 3 months have been kind of, shallow as far as growth is concerned. So trying to change that. So this is, I said it in my community tab post. This is the last episode, I guess you will, of Rabyd Reflections, because I think I'm going to go somewhere direction. The live stream that got the most attention and got me the most stuff is when I did react to Charlie Kirk's video live. So I do. I like interacting with you too. So Saturdays is still going to be a live stream, but I think I'm going to spend the time reacting to a video live, maybe even blind. Somebody give me a short theist video about atheists, and spend 2 hours dissecting 5 minutes. So we can do that too. Midweek live streams are problematic because of when I have to do them. So I have to cut them short and all that stuff. So there's that aspect of it. But the idea is to get my 4 videos out a week too, because those are the ones that generate my views and my ad revenue and stuff like that. So I don't want to be that either, because I am very focused. Okay. But I do want to be successful enough to make it worth my while. Okay. I know there's a lot of behind the scenes work that YouTubers do that nobody sees. Okay. And I think that's something that people don't always appreciate. Like when I listen to other YouTubers and I know the work that they put in it, there's a lot of editing that I don't completely understand. Okay. And stuff that they do that I'm like, wow, man, that's a lot of work and a lot of hours. And so I'm moving into viewing this more as a part-time job, just to put the time in. And cause that's about the truth of it. It's gotten to be something that I spend some time on, and I want it to be more quality time. So I don't want 2 million subs, because then that just gets unwieldy. So it's yeah, when I started editing it, yeah, I started editing a lot of things. Yeah, what you're saying is true. It's a bottomless pit. You have to know when to stop editing. Okay. Uh, go get your vaccinations. I love you guys. Your humor is so dad. It's just so dad. So I think this is the thing. I have noted that a lot of atheist content creators are mostly live or mostly videos. There doesn't seem to be a good way to balance it. And I'm more of a mostly video kind of producer. So, putting out 4 videos and maybe having one live stream for sure, and maybe having another one in the midweek. The big thing is I used to be really good at putting things out a couple days in advance so people knew what was coming. And that's kind of where I want to head with it again, get back to that point. And so a couple of things that will be going on as far as programming, the plan, and I'm not going to make any promises. So I don't like making promises I don't keep, and I've been doing that too much lately. So the plan is Mondays are going to be questionable witnesses. I want to continue that series. There's a funny thing about the questionable witness series as far as viewership. It used to be like any other Bible study where I'd get like 150 views. It's been creeping up every episode. It's almost like the longer the series get and the more complete it gets, the more people are interested in it. And looking at the life of Christ from an atheist point of view has been very interesting. So there's that. And so that's been an interesting one. I think if I actually complete that one in a couple years at the rate we're going, it'll be a big one on this channel. It'll be something that people get connected to with this. So, yeah, I think that looking ahead is kind of like designing something and then making sure I follow it. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to kill myself. I don't know, your name always disturbs me, but I get it. So, but thank you very much. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, see, yeah, I some people like videos and editing. I like doing videos because it's more like I get a chance to sit down and think about my response. I noticed that last night that I'm spending all this time as people are talking, thinking about my response, and by the time I think about my response, it's 2 minutes late. Okay, so uh, yes, it is good because what's also happening is that they're watching the latest episode of Questionable Witnesses, and then they're going back and watching the rest of it. So uh, the Old Testament is more problematic for me because I don't know Hebrew as well as I know Greek. Okay, and I as a Christian I know the New Testament far better than the Old. That said, I've studied the Old Testament pretty extensively. Um, I don't know. I will think about it. I have uh, another day of the week. I'm also going back to my rotation of Bible studies, when God kills and the heroes of faith are not finished. When God kills may never be finished. And then my one on the Book of Acts, tongues of fire, I'm still doing. But those have also grown over time. Like they they're there, and the more I do them, and like when I do when God kills, those are actually, because the titles are provocative, a lot of people watch those. Okay, When God Kills is actually a very popular series when I drop it. Um, but I want to do the other two because it's a very intense thing to think about. Like I've got the next video I have coming up. I don't know if I've done Jephthah's daughter, but I'm redoing it or doing it for the first time for When God Kills. And the emotions of that story and the probability, for instance, that it might be a real story bothers the hell out of me. And so every time I do a When God Kills, it's a very emotional thing for me. So, um, yeah, this is the other thing about live. I think maybe the Old Testament might be better for like a midweek live stream or something to that effect, or a weekend live stream. Um, hey, random ideas are welcome. Random ideas are welcome. I have a lot of randomness. Yeah, it's kind of questionable. I know that the guy who discovered that the world was round scientifically by measuring shadows in different places at different times, I want to say 200 BC, that somebody did that. I can't remember who that was. And so we've known for a long time. So there's that. So those two Bible study series will be hopefully back every week. Um, Questionable Witnesses on Monday, and I'm thinking the other one on Thursday, where I'll rotate the three Bible studies. And then this coming Tuesday, I am going to do the latest installment because it's the last day of the year of my reconstruction story. I'm going to look back at 2004 and talk about things I need. That's going to be one of those very personal videos for me, but it won't take much to edit because I usually don't edit those very much. I leave all the personal stuff in because that's the point. And then Friday, I'm going to hopefully finally get the Charlie Kirk official reaction video. And this is what I want to talk about because I think on Saturday, I'm going to react to videos and with the community, all of you, because one of the things that was very helpful with the Charlie Kirk video was Grumpy Librarian poked his head in when he talked about the Liberty Bell, and he's like, the Liberty Bell was commissioned by the French, and poured at a English foundry and sent to the colonies. So it's like it had nothing to do with the attitude of the colonists. It was a gift, So it's like when he said that, I'm like, yeah, I remember thinking that when I read about it. Uh, yeah, that's the guy I was trying to remember. Yeah, this guy, Aristarchus, he was the one who calculated the size of the Earth based on all that. So we've known this for a long, long time. Okay, so it's just recent stuff. Yeah, it's yeah, I think that, I think this is the right spelling, but it was like, yeah, he verified the roundness of the earth and how big it was based on those mathematical observations. So it's, it's why I don't deal with flat earth, because we've known the world hasn't been flat for a while. Um, so to me, it's just the most ridiculous thing. We were talking about that last night. And so, but what I want to do with the Saturday reactions is take the video that I'm going to react to the next week and do a live reaction of it with the community and bring everybody in, because there's a lot of knowledge. I know it doesn't always look that way in chat because, it gets kind of nuts and people are, they joke with each other and everything. But I have a lot of people who follow this channel and watch live streams that are very knowledgeable. And when Grumpy Librarian did that, I said, there's a resource here in this community that I could tap into. I don't know everything. So it's it's one of those things where I think I can do a live stream with reacting to a video live on a Saturday, and then the rest of the week kind of take that and work it in to my reaction that'll probably drop on Friday the next week. So I'm hoping that, dude, are you just making the rounds? Because I saw you on Captive Desk earlier. Boy, do you not know anything. I just keep doing that, man. You just show your ignorance. It's great. But yeah, fine, whatever. I don't know. I don't I don't know any witches, and I'm not. So there's that. So, but that guy's, hey there, Earl. Good to see you. I had fun last night. So if you're listening, yeah, I'm sure you are. I had a great time last night. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate that more than you know. My autistic self, of course, got a little bit anxious about the whole thing, but it turned out to be a fun time. And I've discovered that I'm okay and to a certain extent in crowds. I can, so do I know an ex-witch? Okay, there we go. So, yeah, it was a good time. I had a good time last night. So, and I had to take a break at one point, but other than that, I was okay. And I think I can handle live streams with. So there's that. So it was a good time. I appreciate the invite, and I want to let you know that publicly. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it. It was just kind of funny with JL, and you got to thank that young lady who came in late that kind of saved it to start asking some real birthday party questions. So it was a good time. But yeah, what I want to do is on Saturday, I want to do a live reaction to the video that I'm going to do a more video formal reaction to the next Friday. That way I can get some feedback from the community about it and talk about it. There's just a lot of people like Grumpy Librarian who are just these fonts of knowledge that I don't know, and other people know other things. And so, tapping into that a little bit. I also, when I do some of my formal videos, when I do video reactions, I sometimes miss a few things. And usually if I do them live, we don't miss much. So, I love the guy. I absolutely love JL. I love his content. I love who he is. I love the energy he brings to everything. I think one of his issues is understanding the social context. It's a birthday party. Okay, it's not a debate platform, but it's fun. It was a fun time. But yeah, so don't worry. And Earl, it started. It started. So it's going to be there, I think. Yeah. So yeah, very much so. Thank you. So that's what I want to do with that live stream. It's going to be rapid reactions and review, where I take a video and review it live on Saturdays. And then a midweek stream is still on the table, but it might be like an optional thing like every other week, because every other week I meet with my therapist on a Wednesday, and that's the best time for me to live stream too. But it's not a good day when I meet my therapist because I'd rather, reflect on my time. And I can't do it later because I got to go to work because I work at night. So it might be an every other week thing, midweek. So I love live streaming because I love keeping in touch with all of you, and I like knowing what's going on in your life. And also because I try to be a support for you, those of you deconverting. I really do. Those of you that are struggling for it, I try to be there for you. No, it just shows I'm smart. So I also have a lot of trauma issues from what people have done to me that I have to work through. Um, you know, I haven't done this in a while. So let me get to the bottom of the chat here. Oh, thanks. So, all right. Thanks, Martin. Outstanding. Um, yes, I was a preacher for 20 years. Son was God for half of it, and the other half, a independent congregational church. So 20 years of being a minister. I also have the educational credits to go with that. This is why I don't want to stop them. Because a lot of times I end up just addressing your comments, and I like doing that. I like doing questions. I like doing question and answer. What I don't like is what just happened is people just making these baseless accusations against me without really engaging in a conversation. That's why, I tell my mom, ASO and others have to tell, like Martin, like missing Maud is welcome here because I've had a couple of interactions with her, and she is very much into dialogue and not dominating the conversation. So that's awesome. And so I appreciate her, okay, Christian though she is. So it's like, because whenever I see a Christian hanging around atheists, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Um, hey, welcome, Coyote. Appreciate you being here, man. Um, so yeah, honest dialogue is what we're after here, Martin. Like the guy you just blocked. Okay, he's not here for honest dialogue. What does that mean? Anybody can be a preacher of Christ. Okay, anybody can do it. Okay, it's like the lowest qualifications for any job there is. All you have to do is open a Bible, go to a passage about Jesus, and then just start preaching it. Okay, and suddenly, bam, you're a preacher of Christ. Okay, but yes, I was in the pulpit for a long time, week after week, preaching messages, teaching Bible studies during the week, doing all kinds of stuff. So yes, if you don't believe me, okay, you can call the Assemblies of God Michigan District and ask if they had an ordained minister named Ed Rabyd from 2001 till, I don't know, about 10 years later. So, and then you can call up, Congregational Church in Hersey, Michigan, and ask them if they had a preacher there by the name of Ed Rabyd. And sure enough, they'll probably tell you. They probably might not. What the hell does that mean? That's to be spiritually clarified is a claim without evidence. I don't need to be purified because there's nothing spiritually wrong with me because I'm not really sure about spirituality. Okay, I'm sorry. That's all made up stuff. Okay, so I mean, I'm sorry. It's a nonsensical statement to me. Okay, as an atheist. So yes, yeah, tread lightly. We just don't agree with that. I'm a troll. No, I try to ignore my trolls, missing Mod, including you know, including you. But no, I don't ignore you. But it's like I pay attention to the chat because I'm so detail oriented that I'm trying to talk and I can see the movement, and it's like I want to be interactive. So that's the whole point of doing a stream. So so there's that. Yes, I did. You went to Valley Forge, huh? I went to Trinity Bible College up in Ellendale, North Dakota. right at the time that it was being accredited. So I have an accredited biblical studies degree. So it's that element of it that stuck with me for a long time. But yeah, I have a bachelor's degree from them, and then I have a master's degree from Asbury in Kentucky, in Wilmore, Kentucky. So I know Methodism pretty well too. So um, yes, I'm telling you right now, Rimmer. Um, for the future of my mods, and there's a lot of mods here, so I'm going to say this to all of them as well. I would like part of the problem is when we shut down theists, is they're the ones that like to comment and they're the ones that get me attention. Okay, so it's kind of this balancing act of, do I let them keep talking because it's one of those things that gets me attention for the channel, or do I do I shut them down because they're just preaching at me? Um, yeah, but my last stream, I had a guy just like that. He was just like um, constantly telling me what I thought and what I really knew. He was definitely heading the pre-supper line of, you really know there's a God, you're just denying him in your unrighteousness. He didn't say that outright, and he was kind of covering the idea of him being, he was just basically making that assumption. My biggest problem with him was I'm like making points and he's never addressing them. Um, so there's that. So it's theirs. That's kind of where I'm at with it. My whole thing with theists is they make the best comments to react to, and they get me a lot of attention. So from a channel point of view, they're good. Yeah. Yep. That's what we kind of concluded. So yeah. So with those changes, I think I'm gonna have the definite one live stream every Saturday where I'm doing the video. I want to react to a video as a community, and I think it'll bring up a lot of discussion points with everybody. So there's that aspect of it, and then I'll turn that into a formal reaction by Friday, hopefully on Friday the next week. I'm going to be doing that with Charlie Kirk this week. We did a reaction to him a while ago. We'll do that. And then the midweek live stream is probably going to be some sort of question that I want to pose. Yeah, it's it's one of those things where I'm trying to get programming that I can do. The Bible studies are easy for me to write and do. Um, and then after I get done with this week, where I'm doing my reconstruction story for 2024, after that, I'm doing what I call the Rabyd Rewind, where I'm going back to the early dim dark days of the channel, the first and second year. There's a lot of videos there I think have good content to them. They just, because they're so old, nobody notices them, and I'm going to redo them, put them in the more modern format, and so um, it's one of those things where I'm going to just redo some old stuff. So there's that. Um, I don't know. Other than that, I'm going to continue to do what I do. I think one of the things that, on a more personal note, I've come to ground with is, continuing to be what I want to be and be myself. It's always a challenge. Yeah. Oh, a former Assemblies of God boy went Baptist. I'm a former Assemblies of God boy who went Congregationalist. I don't know. Maybe some similarities there. So, um, but yeah, I don't know. I've been, on a more personal note, I guess I've been more reflective of why I seem to get into funks all the time, and I think it's because I just don't listen to enough music sometimes. So, but it's like it's become a regular habit, and I need to get out of it. So, kind of for the New Year's, I don't know if I don't do New Year's resolutions, but a little bit more resolve for the new year. So there's that. Um, there's that aspect of it. So, uh, so, but yeah, I don't know. I'm always open to suggestions. I love Ozzy. What I've been listening to lately, though. Um, gosh, Blue Oyster Cult, and I've also been listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin. Uh, some of my favorite songs are by that. Uh, yeah, that's another aspect of deconversion is finding out that music isn't forbidden. So, but yeah, I just spent more cowbell, more cowbell. Yes, I love Led Zeppelin's Black Dog. It's just one of my favorites, and some of their other stuff that they do. And then of course Blue Oyster Cult has Godzilla, which is one of my favorite guitar works. If you listen to the guitar work in the background, oh my god, beautiful stuff. Um, so it's that kind of aspect to my life that I've been missing. Yeah, I don't know. I just love the way they switch from the music to the vocals in that one, and then uh, you know, man, it's just there's so much good guitar work in that one too. I'm a big one for guitar harmony. It's probably why I like Metallica so much because they have this 3 level overlay. Probably thanks to Cliff Burton before he died, that just really works. And there's just a lot of good harmony into it. So I've got a, you know what? I, this is one band that I think I'm going to give a try this year, coming year. I'm going to start listening to some Grateful Dead, maybe become a Deadhead myself. So, so it's kind of that mood for me. I think I got that way because I was listening to a lot of 1960s war protest songs. So, so it was, yeah, he was definitely the Jimi Hendrix of bass players. When you listen to his one solo, man. Um, eh, oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, I when people ask me to, uh, explain my music taste, it's kind of like put a really pretty blonde in a nice dress next to holding hands with a goth guy. It's like decked out in black. That's kind of the way it works. I love a lot of different stuff. So, no, no, I don't. Um, I'll leave the theological discussion away from today because that's not really what I'm in the mood for. Uh, but from a job point of view, I don't miss it at all. Um, if I was still a Christian, I would tell you that most preachers are not like super successful, and so they pasture these small flocks and they try to keep it together, and they're very sincere. Um, Especially small town church pastors are pretty sincere people, and the problem is nobody appreciates them for what good they do. Like if they do counseling, that's decent, but most of them don't. So there's that. Um, yeah, that's kind of right there. That's me. Okay, and everything in between. It's an A to Z thing. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. But I always appreciate what different music genres do. Okay, to me and my emotions. You can usually tell my emotional state by listening to what music I'm listening to. So, no, yeah, the cult. Yeah, man. Oh, there's just so many groups out there, and I'm glad I live in a day and age where I can listen to all of it. I just don't have time to do that. I am a musical appreciation guy. My musical background of actually being a performer. I played saxophone from sixth to eighth grade and gave it up because I sucked at it. Um, So there's that aspect. And then the next thing I really knew, the last time I was really musical, was singing in the choir, and I would take the deep tenor bass parts most of the time, though I can. Uh, so in the choir when I was in my congregational church, and that kind of died out when our really good pianist died. So you know, the funny thing about DC Talk, I still like the way they did their music. Okay, unlike many other Christian artists, they actually had talent. I think that's why they were so popular. Yeah, I know most people do suck at the saxophone. Uh, 1980s, 70s, 90s jingles. I got all those too. They get me stuck. So, oh, Christian contemporary music. Man, I know they're kind of a joke, but Striper was in my repertoire for a while. As a hair metal band, they actually weren't half bad. There were many that were better. Um, I actually was a big Petra fan for a long time because I liked their music, that kind of rocky music. And they actually had some talent. So when they had Greg Voles, they actually had a guy that had like a 5 octave range with his voice. So they were around for quite a while. I don't think they do music anymore, but I think I must have had everything. They were very, very good, very talented. I kind of liked them. That's the thing with Christian contemporary music, though, is there's about 10, 11 artists you could say had talent, and then you had a whole bunch of other people that are just copycatting other stuff in secular groups. And so it's just like kind of that. Faith, yeah, I remember hearing about them. I don't remember. No, listen, I don't listen to them anymore. There are much better bands out there than Striper. Striper just got notoriety because they were the only Christian band that looked like every other hair band. Um, I think Seth Andrews does a thing with them. So, but no, yep, Keith Green. I kind of liked him. Man, I just don't. Pop has never really gotten to me. It always has to be edgy or alternative. It, I don't know. Pop music, I really feel like they've gotten into a rut. Yeah, looking through rose-colored stained glass window. That was a good song. It actually still has a good point today. So for Christians, I saw Petra in concert 4 times, mostly in Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo, Michigan. So yeah, it's the nostalgia of it. I love I love music, and so there was a time when that music meant a lot to me emotionally. So you're very good. Wow. Maybe we can get an atheist choir together, sing online. I'm sure that'll kill a half of our subs. Oh, not the real one. Okay. Bad Blood. Yeah. Taylor Swift. Oh, well, you can put that into your other content. That'll be great. I don't know about that. Oh my gosh, the Beatles and all the rest of them from that era. Oh my gosh. Uh, I don't know. I find myself with my music right now being in the 60s and 70s a lot, and mostly rock bands. So the old style, grind it out, you know, where you had to have talent, kind of rock bands. Um, so oh Yeah, I think that's why I don't like Striper anymore. When you really look back at it, it's like they were just trying to be like everybody else, and that's probably one of my criticisms of Christian contemporary music is they're just trying to be like everybody else. I mean, I could tell you there's all these metal bands that I used to listen to that were Christian, but I could tell you which music style they were copying. Okay, and that's kind of what once I started listening to secular music and Christian music back and forth, I realized how many, it's like a straight rip off of the style. Okay, um, so it's that. Um, so there's also that aspect of it. But I remember listening to like Bride and thinking that sounds familiar. There's other Christian bands, metal bands. I had one little known band called Messiah Prophet, really talented, but they sounded exactly like AC/DC. So it was like, okay, you know, it's one of those things. Yeah, the thing about Dan, he has a ton of atheist songs he's written over the years because he used to write songs. I think it's an interesting deconversion note how many of us who deconvert try to find stuff that's similar to what we did. Okay, I think this YouTube channel is very similar to what I did as a pastor in a lot of respects, except for one thing. I don't claim authority over any of you. So, I don't have that. Uh, what a great title. Should send that to Dan, asshole. Should do that. Um, oh, oh, yes. Oh man, who was it? Amazing Disgrace. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, this is the thing with music and me. It's good for my brain. It makes me happy, and I don't care where it comes from as long as it gets that effect. I don't listen to a lot of Christian music anymore. I tell you what, though, hymns have their own musical form, and I do kind of miss the musical form, but nobody in the secular world really does it. So, um, but it has its own musical style that I appreciate in certain circumstances. So, but yeah, I think most of us listen to music because it's not a waste of money if it makes you happy or makes you think or put your mind in a better place. Part of my deconversion has been just relaxing when I'm listening to devil metal, and like I spent a good chunk of my time going back and listening just to everything Iron Maiden ever did. So yes, I do listen to Pentatonics. I love what they do, especially their early stuff when they still have Avi. Oh my gosh, that guy can get down into the basement. And so, um, yeah, so there's that. I don't know, yeah, I think that's actually true. Okay. And the whole idea of 12 days of Christmas is kind of, I, I've seen it done so many different ways, Rimmer, though, that I think that's that. So there's that. There's that. I don't know. I can relate to you. I'm a stone cold atheist now who used to be a minister. Um, and my daughter, my mother, one of my sons, their significant others are all Christians. So, you know, family things are everywhere. But that's a mega church worship pastor. Wow. She's arrived, so she has no real personal reason to leave. So so um, so there's that. But yeah, but I feel for you. I do feel for you. I'm in that boat as well. I tread a very careful line between holding to my own viewpoint and at the same time loving my family and caring about them. And so yeah, he used it's a hymnal, it's a hymn style. If I had my old organist still alive, he could tell you exactly which bass hymn style it was used in, because he went through the hymnal one day and just showed me how 7 or 8 songs in each hymnal are absolutely the same music, but like have a different tempo, different signatures, all that different stuff that they just change it, but it's the same musical form. And I think the 12 Days of Christmas was one of those forms, but he could probably tell you instantly, but he's unfortunately gone. So, um, so there's that. I don't know. It just, I always like the 12 Days of Christmas because it reminds me that that whole, there's still some recognition of Yuletide in the whole thing, which is the last 12 days of the year. So, and, because pagans are still celebrating Yuletide right now. So there's that. But yeah, I've been just on this kick of listening to certain types of music. That's another thing for the channel, I guess. I need a theme song so I can do my intro and outro videos, and I'm actually kind of next year thinking about Merc too. Yeah, it's called Yule in Swedish. Yeah, yeah. Here in the United States, I think we keep the longer version Yuletide, um, or Yule. Some people just say Yule. So it's been. I remember when I was getting out of Christianity and studying different religious views, that was one of the things I made note of, that how Christmas is such a mishmash of like 12 different people's holidays. So it's really kind of fun. Um, but yeah, I'm heading that way. I don't know. I can see like compassionate anti-theist on a cup or t-shirt. So yeah, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm always nervous about farming out work. So um, yeah, I imagine it would. But yeah, as ho, yeah, I don't know. I need something that's me, and like I look at what the Kentucky Atheist, that's too heavy for me. It's not heavy if I want to listen to it just to listen to it, but I'm more of a hard rock kind of guy that would love to have something like that as part of an intro video. But I need, because one of my other plans is to take these live streams, and if there are good moments in it, to cut them out and like post them as their own video, like at 8 o'clock in the morning my time. No premiere, just post snippets from the live stream that I think are profound or funny or whatever, and just do that. But yeah, the time of Christmas. I'm not sure it would have really have meant that. You know, but yeah, I remember when I was looking into paganism that Yuletide came up a lot at this time of year, and they were just talking about different things. Definitely worth the money. Okay, yeah. See, I'm in the mode. Part of the plans for the future is maybe spend a little money on the channel, invest it, and see how if it doesn't pay off, it's still worthy to make the channel better. But getting an outro that I can slap on every video instead of having to say that every time. Um, say what I say every time. Other than I always want to make it personal about not wasting your time with religion. So, not to offend all the theists in the room right now, but to me, it's just a kind of a waste of time when you realize it's all fantasy. But and just doing the how to support the channel aspect of it, and kind of putting that at the end in an outro, doing that kind of thing. So. I I have to be in a very specific mood to listen to that song. And I think it's because I don't have any siblings. But I do have a person that I consider my brother who lives in Texas. And every once in a while, that song has applied either direction um, to me and him. So um, it's kind of a funny story with me and him. When we were young, he was the heathen and I was the Christian preacher, and now I'm the heathen and he's kind of Christianish. So it's been a shift. Okay. All right, Ozzy. Yeah. So see, that's kind of the style I'm thinking of for me, like an Ozzy Osbourne, AC/DC type riff. So that's something that I would consider because it's more my overall style. So oh yeah, there's a. I would say actually what happened with worship music is if you listen to modern worship music, go back and listen to pop music or culturally relevant music 20, 30 years ago, and that's where you'll hear worship music. So, so there's that one. I don't know if I've heard that. Turn, turn, turn. Yep. Um, uh, okay, I'll have to look that one up. Oh, so it's like a heavy upfront cost, but lots of benefits down the road. And no matter what happens, the rights to the music stay for me if I buy them. Okay. I used to I used to have to deal with this in the church because one of the I don't know if it's well sung out conflicts within the church is Christian music producers like to get paid. Okay, and so there was a lot of like copyright services you could subscribe to so you could have all the worship music up on your screen. And so I've had to deal with this crap before. Oh, BS. Thank you so much. That's my laugh for the day. Oh, man. I got that last night too. Why do I have rabies? And it's like, oh my gosh, it's my last name. When I was a kid, I used to hate my last name because I used to get teased incessantly about it. And then one day I just embraced it. Okay, fine. I'll be the rabid whatever. And I've been doing that now for a long time. Hell, my blogs might still be there, like the Rabid Theologian, original 2.0 and 3.0. Rabid Pastors probably out there somewhere. Man, a lot of old blogging that I use that term, and I just carried it over here. I almost call this channel the Stoic Atheist because it's more my style, my philosophy. So that would be helpful. Yeah, yeah, that's who it is, Filbert. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The CCLI. Oh my God. But yeah, yeah. Okay, but yeah, I want to do an intro. I just because I would rather with my videos just kind of start and get going and save everybody some time if they can see when the intro ends and just go. So yeah, the rabid stoic. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but when I was forming, that's a little bit of history of the channel. When I was trying to come up with a name for the channel way back in holy shit 2020 January, I'll be celebrating 5 years here in another week or two. Uh, I was going back and forth because I was really into Stoic philosophy, still am. But I was also, you know, I've used this moniker and I think it'll get more attention being rabid than being stoic. And sure enough, I think that's been true. But yeah, that's one of my historical things that happened. It really did happen. Uh, but it was like, I want to mesh my atheism. I realize that atheism can't be a worldview by itself. So I needed, to start exploring that at the time. And yeah, it was one of those things. But yes, yeah, but yeah. I don't think so. I don't think they're scared of me. I just get frustrated. Uh, but yeah, no, listen, I don't think theists are scared of me. They just get frustrated when I use their own game against them. Um, my thing with it is, I was telling them last night, like, JL will use philosophy back at them when they have this, you can't even prove the concept of God and all that stuff. I will straight up quote Bible verses back at them. Okay, if you're going to use the Bible, I can use that sword too. I got pretty good at it. Um, and so that's absolutely something that happens all the time. I think what they get frustrated with and why they get angry and stomp off is I already know what they're going to say before they say it. I already did the arguments myself. Rapid fire. Oh boy, question and answer stream. That might actually, Michael, I might keep that. uh, but yeah, that might be a good midweeker where I just answer comments, you know, you know, ask questions, answer comments, do that kind of thing. No, no, you got to go. Got to go to Greek. You got to go to Greek when you look for philosophical terms. Thanks, Earl. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, you worship Satan. It's funny. The Satanist Church, if you read their doctrinal statement, they're all atheists. So it's funny because they don't really believe in the devil either. Hey, Fred's back. Okay. Well, it's all right. Internet happens. So there's that. Oh, yeah. No, they weren't. It, when you really study, like, see, because I've studied Greek philosophy enough now that Stoicism and Epicureanism, all of it has good points. Okay, like Stoics are very good in simply stating the fact that shit's going to happen, and you need to have the right mindset to deal with it. But I think the other side makes a good point and said, but you don't go looking for trouble. Okay, you try to minimize your suffering as much as possible, while at the same time it's going to happen, and finding a way to deal with it. And so no, they actually do a lot of good stuff. They're very charitable. Okay, and they when you really look at them and boil them down, they're just atheists making fun of the Catholic Church mostly. So, um, yeah, that kind of ruins it. I remember when I read Dante's Inferno the first time. I'm like, what the hell? Quite literally. Yeah, it's like and I'm amazed at how many people think that that's an add-on to the Bible and Holy Scripture. So there's that. Um, eh, yeah, it can be kind of weird. They do have some beliefs in the supernatural, but here's the thing. That's not much different than the Buddhists. Uh, when you try to pin a Buddhist down, do they believe in some sort of personal God? You really come up with a no answer. when you get past all the philosophizing about it, and they just don't have an answer. They're like, no, not really. Um, so it's just it dwells in that realm of atheism where people are atheists. They don't believe in a personal God, but they might believe in the force. They might believe in some sort of spiritual reality that people just don't really understand, et cetera, et cetera. So I think Satanism kind of fits in that mold. But a lot of times what you see in Satanism is this mockery of like the Catholic Church or some specific denomination. Like I remember some guy making the observation that some Satanist covens are like reverse Catholicism and others are reverse Protestantism or Lutheranism or whatever. So, well, that's the thing. You could put a lot of types to it, but at the end of the day, if you don't feel there's evidence sufficient for a personal God, you're an atheist. And that's why I get after Gnostics for that too. Because I'll straight up ask them if they have an active belief in a God. And if they say no, I'll say, well, you're agnostic atheist. Welcome to the club. It's just the term. It's why I work so hard to normalize the term atheist, because I think that's the only way to go. We're not going to get rid of the term. So we might as well just you have to change the perception of it. And unfortunately, the church has done a really good job of propagandizing against it. So the need for this channel is probably going to be for a long time. It's going to definitely be around for a while. So there's that aspect. So, but yeah. So to me, it's just unbelief, the right to not believe in anything. I think I should have that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've done all the arguments against the existence of God at one point on this channel, and it pushed me farther towards that boundary, but didn't push me over. Yeah, there's no club. Now, it's one of the disadvantages of being an atheist where religion has one on us. They're much better at community. They're much better at forming organizations because of their commonly shared beliefs. But atheists don't really have that. So there's nothing in common for us to rally around. So, guess what? I don't go into church buildings either. But that's my PTSD and RTSD and RTS. It's like my religious trauma syndrome and my PTSD from people threatening me inside of the church as a pastor when I was a pastor. So I find church buildings just to be straight up uncomfortable. Really, the whale thing again. Again. Yeah, I would agree with you. I am a Gnostic atheist about the Abrahamic religions. I think that Yahweh guy is completely flipping made up. So, I don't want to be a member of a club that accepts me. Oh, that might be him. Groucho had a lot of lines like that were straight wisdom. And in some respects, him and Mark Twain both had that kind of sarcastic overtone. Yeah. You know what? I never thought of it that way, but that's true. There's initiations, vows of loyalty, and dues. So it's like you got to pay your dues. So, yeah, but it's the social club aspect of it that religions do a crap ton better than any atheist group I've ever been a part of. Yeah. Gonna burst into flames, Earl. Okay. Yeah, it's not that I'm afraid I'll I have some real world shit with church buildings. So, when I got the one day when the deacon basically threatened my livelihood and threatened to put me and my kids on the street, it was kind of like that was a traumatic, traumatic moment for me. um, caused a lot of fear. And the guy was serious, and he had the power to do it. That was what pissed me off. So, and every time I go into a church, I'm kind of reminded of that, and about 6 other times where people were kind of dicks in a very serious way. And this is a lot of the things behind the scenes that people don't see with some pastors. Yeah, there's some pastors that are just frauds and charlatans and all that. The real problem, I think, about 80% of them is they're sincere believers, and they face a lot of bullshit because of other people believing different than they do. So, um, everybody has to believe in something. Why? Okay. Let's see. Is there something I can believe in? I don't know. I believe in stuff that's tested and I can see it. Like the sun. I'll go George Carlin on that and say I'm going to start worshiping the sun because I actually see the sun. Kind of helps the credibility along. Um, I have heard of them. I don't know if I've listened to them. Um, so there's that. Yeah, it is interesting, Fred. The first thing I did when I got out of the church is I started reading Norse mythology, and I found the stories much more interesting. It's probably why Thor made a comic book and Yahweh hasn't done that yet. To me, that's now the test of whether a religion is actually entertaining, as if you can make a comic movie out of it. So there's that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll have to check them out. Um, I'll have to check them out. I check out a lot of music. Yeah, I think belief, just straight up blind belief, is dangerous. I agree with you there, but there are some things that are probabilistic, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to gamble on that side, I guess. Or there are some things that have like a 90% probability. I think belief stretches the gap, but I don't know. Yeah, me too. It's probably the only place it actually exists. Maybe. My necklaces, I actually have several. When I was studying Norse mythology, and my story is I did a genetics test to find out because my grandfather on my father's side, I don't know hardly anything about, other than the fact that every once in a while on ancestry.com, I get the notification that I have another first, second cousin. Now, what that means is that my grandfather got busy with another woman and had another kid. And at this point, I think my count is up to he had like 18 kids by 6 different women. So very prolific, but I don't know anything about him other than that. And so I did the genetics test, and all of a sudden there's Swedish, Norwegian, Danish. I don't know any about that, has to come from him. And I've always loved the Vikings and all that stuff. And so I started wearing like Fenrir. I have 2 Thor's hammers, Mjolnir, and I have a Volknut that kind of reflects my philosophy of living life now. 3 triangles, 9 sides. So all the virtues that I follow are represented there. I've endowed a lot of it, but I have ravens, I have wolves, I have a wolf one, I have a Viking compass one. So I change them out depending on my mood. Uh, but the wolf one, I don't know. It's Fenrir, the reminder that all things end, that someday everything ends. So, but yeah, it's a nod to my basically Scandinavian heritage that I didn't know I had until about 6 or 7 years ago. So, oh yeah, I don't know. I think they'd flip out. Marvel Jesus. But I tell you, that's the true test of whether a religion is fun if it gets into some sort of comic book. Yeah, that's a good one. Um, yeah, yeah. Me too now. Oh, uh, yeah, it is. It is. It's. I think the thing I noticed was how Northern European uh, religions are very similar, depending on. Yeah, definitely, definitely. My grandfather got around. We'll just put it that way, and you could get away with it back then too because he was, he lived. Uh, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s is when he was having kids. And so he was, I guess, according to my father, he was like a traveling salesman. And so apparently he had other reasons to stop at different places. Very interesting man from that standpoint. Uh, Definitely one of those wandering people that was very prolific. So, um, but my dad has the distinction of being his first child. So that's the only distinction I have. And it's actually from one of his two marriages. The other four women he wasn't married to, as far as I can tell. But in his first marriage, my dad was his oldest kid. And that's probably the only distinction we have. So um, my dad got to know him a little bit right before he died. But uh, yeah, it's definitely a Viking thing. I love that part of history. It's very interesting to see the conflict between paganism and Christianity in the north of Europe. Um, it the problem with paganism is they didn't have a church paying tithes necessarily where they could fund the military. So, so yeah, yeah. I was trying to remember. Um, yeah, I think it does. The Third Reich kind of used it, and so it's one of those things that leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But uh, there's yes, 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 Earl. That's my grandfather. Okay, he was definitely doing that. But at the same time, it's been very interesting because the few of these first, second cousins I've had contact with, um, they all have the same opinion of the guy. I'm here because of him, but yeah, he's not a good person. So, but interestingly enough, I haven't found any of these prodigy of his that have turned into bad people like that. So I don't know. Maybe his example is what drives them to be better people. So you know, it's amazing how family trees. But I didn't know anything about that until I did the genetics test, and so but I started wearing jewelry because another reason I did it is because when I was in the church as a pastor, I got this a lot in Pentecostalism. Men wearing like necklaces and jewelry is kind of frowned upon. Um, and so there's that aspect of it. And so I started wearing a necklace just because I wasn't a Christian anymore. Uh, oh boy, this is a hard question to deal with, Alex. I'm still dealing with that. A lot of them want me to return. I know that because they had a lot of pride in me being a pastor, and I get that from being on the other side. But no, I guess you'd have to ask them for a full story. But all I've really gotten is they don't like the fact that I'm not in the pulpit anymore. They took a lot of pride in it that their dad or grandfather or relation was a pastor. It's a respectable position in society, um, and so that's how they feel about it. So when I left it, because I had been an atheist for 2 years in the pulpit, so when I left it, for me, it was just an intense relief that I didn't have to bullshit people anymore. Um, But, I don't know. I know my daughter was disappointed, but she's getting over it. She's embracing her new father, who isn't a minister. She still loves me, and I love her. My family are still very loving and close. But yeah, I don't think they liked it. I know my ex-wife didn't like it at all because she absolutely lived in being the pastor's wife. She loved that role. So, and now she couldn't do it because it was all dependent on me staying there. Um, yeah, that's a pretty wild mythology. Yeah, and I get Alex's question, but in the end, it was a false authority that I had, and I'm trying to live my life based on truth. That truths, small t that I discover. So yeah, gods regenerate. They come back up around. They do. What am I supposed to wear as a Pentecostal? I don't know that people didn't do that. Okay. Uh, the one the one thing about Pentecostals is I'm going to tell you the secret sin level. There's always a secret sin in every denomination level. I think Pentecostals had the highest. I swear. I remember hearing a report one time that where the Assemblies of God Michigan District had met at a certain hotel, and when we left, the district reported to everybody, this is embarrassing because porn use like tripled during those 2 days. So it was like they were having this conference, and when everybody heads back to their hotel rooms, they're doing that. So I wouldn't doubt that people had tattoos and piercings and all that stuff, but they would have to have been hidden. So, so um, it's that one. So it's it's kind of that way. But no, they were very holiness based. So girls could have earrings and necklaces and maybe a bracelet. When I was first a Pentecostal, they were still wearing dresses and they weren't allowed to wear blue jeans or anything. But that changed in the late '70s, early '80s. The dress codes changed over time. So, and by the end of it, yeah, they were letting anybody in. So, because they were losing people. So there's that. It would hurt. Piercings would hurt if you had unrepentant sin in your life. Um, yes, I do. Where is it? Yeah, I do remember them. Um, they were one of my inspirations to start lifting weights, actually. So, um, but turned out to be good for my health in the long run. So, but the rest of it was kind of like, yeah, I know all those Muscleman huckster tricks that they used to do at carnies, and that's basically what they were doing. Um, I don't. You'd have to ask a pastor's wife, but there's a lot of what I would say influence authority with being a pastor's wife. Like if the pastor's wife says, "I don't want that here," it's not going to happen. Okay, it's um, there's a prestige position, I guess, there with them. That they're the woman that gets the guy. That's in the pulpit, and so there's a I think my ex-wife reveled in the idea that she actually had some influence and power because she doesn't think too highly of herself sometimes. So it was one of those ways for her to express being in charge, I guess. And she didn't have that anywhere else. So, but a lot of people look at the pastor's wife as kind of this unelected official in the church. So, yeah. The Amish and the Mennonites do, yes. They have gotten slacker and slacker over time. And I think it's because a lot of the younger generation kind of looks at it and goes, this is just stupid. Yeah. I don't think any of them are correct. Okay. If I was having to pick one that follows the Bible as far as belief system goes, the holiness Pentecostals are definitely fundamentalist enough to try to believe every scripture verse, although it creates contradictions. I would say that all of them have some wrongness to them. If you're going based on a biblical understanding of it, everybody has their favorite verses they cling to, and there's other verses that they bury that they don't want to talk about. So, I do remember that. I do remember that. Oh my God. Oh, the power team. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of all a Kool-Aid drinking thing. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think the problem with denominations is they all split off because of some theological splitting of hairs on some sort of verse. And so, I mean, the Baptists are legendary for that. They get some different interpretation, and suddenly, there's another church down the street. So I can't remember exactly how many denominations there are, but there's a shit ton of them. There's a bunch of them, and they all claim to be the truth, and none of them can prove it. So, yeah, I mean, the Plymouth Brethren, yeah, there's an argument to be made there, I guess. Although Arminians would disagree that Calvinists are the worst. So, um, oh, is there that many? So there's 45K different opinions of Christianity in groups. And, God is not the author of confusion. Okay. So, well, yeah, specific dress codes. I mean, my mom was part of the Assemblies of God in the 1950s and 60s. Well, early part of the 60s until she met my dad. But yeah, she said there was really strict codes about what girls could wear. It's funny how dress codes always seem to focus on the ladies. It's always a lady thing. I don't know if it is really that high. I mean, let's be honest, Earl. The Baptists create 2 or 3 new denominations every year. So, yeah. I want to wear my kilt. I probably would wear a kilt from time to time, if I knew which clan I was from. All I know is there's Irish in there somewhere. So, yeah. Different tradition worldwide as of 2024. Holy shit. But all of them are the truth. Every one of them's got the truth. They're the true interpretation. Oh. I never did that, but I was glad to get into the habit of going to the gym until they raised my rate to $60 a month. And I'm like, hell that. No. So, but yeah, I haven't lifted in a gym in about a year. I have my own stuff. So, I really need to start using it more, but since the pandemic, I made sure that I always had access to some stuff to make sure I could stay in shape. But yeah, it's kind of, I remember all those like weightlifting bro, Christian bro shirts. I think they still exist. I've seen one of them very recent, like a year ago. So it's still around there. The Lord's Gym. I remember those. I mean, that's another Christian conversation, how they rip off people like Jesus Christ, the real thing. That's like a straight up rip off from Coca-Cola. You think Coca-Cola will ever sue them over that? No. So, yeah, I mean, but that's cultic behavior all the way around. Okay. As long as you follow the rules, you're going to be loved and cared for. The moment you stop following the rules, then you're out. I mean, I got once I told everybody I really wasn't a Christian anymore, I got bounced so hard it wasn't even funny. Um, so so there was that. But yeah, not anymore. A long time ago when I was younger, but I discovered that if you do the work, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's, don't get me wrong. I miss the gym, the equipment I miss most, but I'm not paying $2 a day to rent equipment. Okay. So, uh, not when I used to pay 50 cents. So, and that's not too long ago, like 5 years ago. So the inflation rate on gym membership is like 200% or something stupid, way too high, for me. Oh, I remember seeing that. Heavenly Metal. Yeah, it'll rock the hell out of you. I think, speaking of Striper, I think I remembered Hell with the Devil being a controversial t shirt in church too. I remember. So it, yeah, I remember all that stuff. Boy, there's just so much stuff that Christians do that they try to mimic. Okay, what everybody else is doing just to kind of look cool, I guess. So, yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no true Scotsman. Then you need big numbers to make a point. Total Jim 2000. Actually, I've tried that once, and you're right. It's no joke. That will get you in shape if you stick with it. But I'm a big dude, and some of those moves were hard on my joints. No matter how much you tried to make it so. So I remember those two. I do. Um, Back when the smile thing was big, smile, Jesus love you. That's where that came from. They just added the Jesus loves you part. Um, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're just trying to make fun of organized religion. Yeah, I think that's the issue with a lot of us here. For us in the United States, a gym means going to exercise equipment. Some of them have spas attached, and some of them have, I also used to keep it because when I was traveling, it was a good place to grab a shower and shave and all that stuff, after you did a workout. That one works for you. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's always been lifting weights, walking, and watching how much I eat. I just watch how much I eat anymore. Um, wow. Okay, you're beyond me, Earl. I mean, my claim to fame in weightlifting is I have hit the 300, 400 goal, which is like a 200-pound bench, 300-pound deadlift, and a 400-pound squat. I've done those. So, a long time ago, about 10, 15 years ago, I made that my challenge and I pulled it off. So, um, that was kind of fun trying to push for that. So strength lifting is very different than what you're doing there. But I love to. There's still a feeling like when you pick up something heavy and you can lift it. There's a definite ego boost, almost instant, when you can do that. But I watch those guys. Yeah, I know that, but I'm one of those guys that's got to push it. And then I get myself hurt trying to put on weight. Yeah, I have a friend at work. Guy's 25 years old, 20, 30 years old. He's like 6'2". He's 120 pounds. like, dude, you look like a stick. So, but yes, I'm a silly person. I'm a silly. See you later, Filbert. Appreciate you coming by. I'm probably actually going to take off here soon too, because I've got work to do and things to do. And I enjoy live streaming, but when I'm by myself, I did note that last night that not being by myself made my social anxiety actually drop because I could hide in the corner, so to speak, and disappear for a bit. So, so it's like uh, I did learn something about myself in that fairly large stream. That was actually kind of cool. So, yeah, my son has that problem. My middle child, he can't he can't gain an ounce. Makes my other two kids mad at him. So, yeah, yeah. I don't give fitness advice, but yeah, getting off your butt and doing something is always better than not doing anything. See you later, Martin. Yeah, you know, I'm going to kind of take off here, but just look forward to some of the stuff on the channel. A few changes, nothing major, but I'm going to keep moving forward. I think it's more necessary now, given the current situation in my country, to keep doing that. I'm fairly certain that I'm going to have to push back on people's bad definitions of atheism and deconversion. I'm sure that's going to happen. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to take off, guys. I've got some things to do. And I love this stream. This has been very good. Appreciate you. Once again, thanks to I Killed Earl for last night. That was a great invite. Thank you very much. Um, so it's, it's going to be a great year coming up. I had a great, wonderful year this year. Lots of success, and I'm looking forward to it. Want to see if we can hit 10K subs before the end of 2025. Let's see if we can do that. So thanks, everybody. Good night. Appreciate all of you. You're wonderful. As always, live your best life. Don't spend all your time, money, and opportunities on things you love and care for, people you love and care for, yourself, and to make this a better world. Don't waste it on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, thanks for coming by, and I will catch you next time.